All right. Think I'm live. Just don't know if anybody's out there yet. Oh, crap. Just don't know if anybody's out there yet. There we go. Well, I know my mic works. All right, I'll kind of wait for people to hop on. If everybody's here's me, throw something in the chat. Harvey, you the man. Hey, what's up? Awesome. Thank you for joining, guys. I appreciate it. So we're gonna give a little bit of time here, let people hop in the chat. Got questions, you can throw them in the chat. I am gonna go right through Studio. It's gonna be hard for me to switch at. This is my first one actually doing Studio, like the deep dive in Studio. I've always done XCS, so it's hard for me to switch from XCS to Studio. So trying a new mic out here, so hopefully this thing works and I sound halfway clear, and tell me if I'm mumbling because I have a tendency to do that. So like I said, we're gonna walk through the whole XCS. See, I already did it. Studio layout. Probably do it more in the P3 layout, just so people understand. That seems to be a very popular one right now. A lot of people have gotten, so I'm gonna kind of walk through that one. If you got questions about something else, we'll bring it up. And on other lasers, we do have pretty much all of them available to look at. So one way or another. So like I said, we'll give a couple more minutes. Trying to see. Usually it tells me they changed up. It's been a minute since I've done live, so I'm just trying to see who's on, what's going on. 11 waiting. I don't know if y'all in. So we do have some giveaways to do tonight. We have some and I should have put them in the chat. I didn't before I started it. I feel bad. But Great Lakes Laser Supply, we're gonna do some giveaways, kind of like xTool style a little bit, where we're gonna have you type in a word and you fill it out, and we'll probably do a couple of them because we're gonna do 4 giveaways of 10 hat clips. And if I'm wrong, I hope Blake's on, he can fix it. But we'll go through that way and we'll kind of just do a first one of a certain amount of time. We'll do a little snippet of the screen again, kind of like xTool style. I'm not advanced and fancy and all that stuff with all the tech to do all that stuff. So you guys even see me checking over here, so I'm just reading chat, so bear with me. So and I got way too many videos up because I'm seeing too many different things. Like I said, it took me a minute to get on here. Things were a little different, like I said, the last time I did a live. So it's been 3, 4 months since I've done a live. So it's been a minute. Again, everybody, thank you for hopping in. Like I said, we're gonna go over Studio here. I'm gonna pop it up. We'll pop Studio up on the screen, go over kind of the basics, where things are at, things I suggest. Again, this isn't like a set in stone thing. This is things that I suggest. If you want a little background on me, I've been doing laser engraving for a little over 4 years. I primarily have xTool only. I am a demo host for xTool. So again, there's a link in the I don't know what you want to call it, bio description. If you guys want to do one-on-one with me, you can do that there too. So, but we do have pretty much, I have all the lasers but the M1. So, and my metal fab shows up tomorrow. So kind of excited about that. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but it's gonna be here tomorrow. So, but yeah, alrighty. Well, I guess we'll get into it. I don't know. Again, it used to tell me how many people were in the like on. I'm just trying to see. I like to know information. Maybe that's what I need. That's what I need right there. So again, so if people hop in and out, again, normally what we do is I kind of go through stuff and I'll go through the basics of xTool, XES. You guys put some chats in there, some questions. I know I have some people questioning, like on a P2, which I do have that up there, how to get to 12 inches, stuff like that. So thank you. But yeah, so it's one of those things. It's all right. Well, we're gonna get into studio. Make sure my stuff's not in the wrong spot. Screen two. All right. Let's see. I gotta always see where I end up. Make sure these guys didn't mess with me again. All right. I don't know if you guys can still see me. I can kind of see me. I'm in the top right corner, but studio. Most of the time, you start here. When you get in the studio, you start out, you have your home screen. This is just basically your where you start out at. This is all your old files, stuff you've done, your recents. I just opened another one. I didn't mean to. So one thing I don't like about the new one is their arrow button goes into a select button, and when you don't, it just disappears. So you select. I always end up selecting that last one. So, but they do give you quite a few more. Obviously, there's information up here, just what's going on with xTool. This is MySpace. This is kind of where they're showing people. It's obviously you can save to xTool, but you have to be logged in from here. So if you're not logged in over here with your xTool account, you won't. This will not show up. I know I've seen a lot of people hop on there and say, "Hey, I don't have all my parts. All my files are gone." Blah 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 blah. It's usually because they're not logged in. So no problem, Don. Maybe Don. Again, like I said, I have a tendency to pop in. I go off on tangents. Sometimes people I gotta like rail me back in. So it's one of those things. But this is everybody has this on every one of their computers. Uh, this is nice about this. So if you do go to another computer, you can technically get this. So from computer to computer. I do like using Dropbox myself. That's my go-to because again, then I have it from computer to computer, so it doesn't matter where I'm at. But this is a nice one if you want something quick, just to save it and know where it's at. Explorer, I think this is just again, a lot of this stuff is in this is like on like a Tom. So again, these are like really good files to go through and check out. And if you're just starting out, it has a tutorial, usually tells you what to do, the power. The thing you got to watch though is make sure it's for your laser or the settings will not be right. So that's the biggest issue. So that's the only thing I recommend on this ones, but they're definitely handy. They're good starter files, just something to get you going. I always say pick something simple. Uh, Obviously, I wouldn't start with a Millennium Falcon, but maybe one of these two items here would be a good starter ones. Uh, and then obviously some bookmarks if you want to check them off. And then materialist we'll talk about in the other one. And again, there's xTool Academy, which is again, it's a very basic walkthrough. I mean, it's almost was a little bit less what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a little more depth. I usually take about an hour and a half, give or take. It's been a minute, so I might chat longer, but we'll see. So, but there's all kinds of cool stuff. They at least have these now. They didn't have this when we all started doing this stuff. So at least they are older because if people don't know, this is Kai, who was a couple years ago. So I don't know how new some of this stuff is. I think that's Kai. Maybe it isn't. So, anyways, that's what that is. If you got any questions for support, obviously click there, that kind of stuff. All right, let's jump into one here. We're going to go to this one. So your basic layout of Studio, it's just like XCS. This is where people don't need to be scared of going from XCS to Studio. It is XCS, just better. So that's where I'm a big advocate. Update your computer, update your firmware, update your software. If you have a big show, don't do it 3 days before. I get that, but it's always there. It's just little bugs, things like that. So, uh, just be smart about it. I know there is a bug here or there, but usually they can fix them. Usually, there's an update next coming out, or it's something little thing doesn't work. There is always ways to go back to. They do have that stuff on there now too. So, but so we're gonna start left hand side, and that's where old school back in when we started this, we had studio side. I'm gonna say XCS every time when I do this. Studio side, software side is your left side. It's your information, your service, your settings, all that stuff. Right side is more going to change. It's going to be your lasers, whatever's on that side. Uh, so we're just kind of walk through this real quick. There's one thing I do want to bring up in this. So under the X, you have your basic file, open, import, all that stuff. The one thing I do want to bring up in this one is the export. If nobody knows about this one, because again, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but you can export as an XCS. I haven't tried it. I didn't use XCS. I know some people have said that might work, might not. I don't. It's definitely been updated, but to be able to do SVG, PNG, JPEG now, that is big because you can now take a picture of your screen, JPEG it out to a customer. That's what I like about it. That's what I use it for. So this has definitely been handy. So that is it. That is under exports. All this other stuff we'll go over once we get some stuff on the screen. Because again, that's everything in XCS. There's, again, see, I told you I was gonna do this. In Studio, there is a few different ways to do stuff. So yeah, the screenshots weird. Sometimes I've sent some stuff with customers and they are so grainy and I don't get why. I don't know if I'm sending it too fast or what, but I feel like that works better. And there's another trick I do is if you right click on your skin, this is my tangents. If you click and you can hide the grid, now I got a nice white background too. So that's another thing I like to do for the export. But all this stuff we'll go over. View is another one that's we can go over here now. So light to dark. If you do like the dark canvases, you can change it to dark. Uh, uh, Back up here. Again, this is all under settings, under views, and then you can actually change the grid darkness. And that's something else I've seen some people have issues with is dark to light to medium. If you want really dark grid lines, some people are like, oh, well, sometimes they don't like them. So they at least made that available. So I do like the light one. So that's that help. Hotkeys. I am a big hotkey guy. Uh, I'll let you guys go ahead and click into that. Go through them. If you like them, use them. If they don't, I understand. Some people don't like using them. I have CAD background, so that is my tendency to use them for sure. So, and then obviously user guide and then settings. So we are going over the latest one, which is 1.3.6. So I just want to clarify that. So if you're not at 1.3.6, I would go download it from the website. Uh, Obviously, a lot of people, when you get your starting first out, it's always stuck in millimeters. This is how you switch it, or you can hit Control K, get big hotkey guy. So, going down again, you can go another way to see it. So like I said, always a few different ways to find stuff. Auto snap is another one, very handy tool, but you'll swear at it eventually, and that's where the Control R is handy. Very handy. I love the two I use the most. Control K, Control R. I love both of them. Um, this precision vector path selection, I do recommend turning this one on for sure. I think this one defaults on, but this one isn't, and I do recommend turning that one on. And this is another one I recommend. Again, you can do it however you want, is keep it size, just because if you bring in a file that's got slots and tabs and stuff, you want to make sure it stays because if it all of a sudden scales down to your workspace, and stuff's not going to work right. DXF import is going to be probably more for Metal Fab nowadays. It still works in here. So there is some cool things I did. So you can actually import in different inches. And again, this is just DXF files. I do have it set to auto detect. So if the file was made in millimeters, it's going to automatically convert it to inches. So it should come in right. This was another thing I did have to up to 0.04. I think it defaults slower than this. So and if I'm talking too fast, guys, tell me too, because I have a bad tendency of doing that also. But this I had to up. So what this is, if you have a DXF file that didn't have, for some reason, some of the lines didn't join just right, this will actually make it a complete line. Because now sometimes you'll get a DXF file and it'll do it line by line by line. It's really annoying. So again, saving import settings, DPI, SVG import settings. So we import it. I think you can change this. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that, but we'll do that. So I keep mine at 144. Obviously, this stuff is for metal fab. People don't know what that is. We'll have a video on it eventually. Uh, but that's what this stuff here is for. Smart detect. Like we won't. I'm gonna cover that. So that'll be another subject. Update anyway. If you have an issue with the purple light, if you ever have a purple light on your machine, I don't want to say a flashing purple light, it's usually meaning something happened with your update and it didn't go right. So this is we had a couple people that helped us last weekend. This is how we did it. Still just force the update. Certain lasers won't do it, some do. So another one's clear cache. If you for some reason you have an issue with your computer being slow, being buggy, for one, if you have a Mac, uninstall it, go to the website and download it. I still think their downloader from the update is not right. So that's my first recommendation is doing that. If for some reason you've been working and all of a sudden it seems doggy, the clear cache definitely helps. Just follow the prompts on that. Another one for Mac users, I highly recommend this one being installed because sometimes USB doesn't work right if this file is not installed. Again, this is for more new users and stuff like that. So, uh, again, we're just kind of run through this. Obviously, updates and the same thing. So I'd have them automatically. Actually, it's not doing that one. Okay, we'll leave it. So that's the settings side for that. Obviously, I have some lasers already attached and opened up here. I run all my stuff off Wi-Fi. That's my preference. I know some people don't. And some people say I can't do it for some reason. I haven't figured out. I don't know if it's my laptop or what. I can run one on USB and then multiple on Wi-Fi or all on Wi-Fi, but I cannot run more than one on USB. I know some people say they can. I don't know if it's just how the computers are made or what, but I can't do that. So if you have that issue, maybe you have the same computer like I got. Let's see. Obviously, we'll just work through these real quick. Obviously, save. This is import. So this is anything. Oh, sorry. This is bringing in from your MySpace page is what this is. So you upload from MySpace. So instead of having to go back to the home screen and upload, you can just import from there. Because there's a way you can actually make kind of like files that you use all the time. They're called assets, uh, blocks. I don't know. I'm using CAD terms, but stuff you like to use in all your drawings or something, you can put it in there and it will come in. That's what this is for. I think right now, let me just click it because I got my logo in there. That was weird. It just saved this to the cloud is what it just did. So obviously this is import. So again, it's okay. I was making sure it's going to the right spot. Not the file we want to open up. So, and then obviously text. We'll go through that here in a second. This is all your shapes. Again, there's the letters beside it. Those are your hotkeys. We'll run through that stuff here in a second. I just want to go through everything first, and then, like I said, people can grab their ask their questions and how things are due and all that good stuff. Projects. This again it's kind of like a Tom. We'll click on it. Uh, it's just again, it's the things you can do. So it's just another way to get to it. And then elements. This is another good feature. I will explain the one while we're in here though. You can type, see if there's anything under that feature, that what you're looking for, which is nice. You can filter it for certain types. Uh, but these ones here that are blue, these are called parametrics. So I use this one as a cookie cutter. I actually use this one quite a bit. So if I bring it in, you can see it's red. It will always be red, no matter what color. Even if I can go down, click on it. If I go down here, sorry, I got my bar in the way here. Change this to green. It's going to stay red. The red means it's a parametric in this sense, unfortunately. Uh, you can go in here, you can edit, which is nice because, like I said, I kind of use as like a big cookie cutter. If I want to put corners on a block or somewhere that's out in space, I use this. But everything's parametric. It just changes the way it goes. It's actually very handy. Again, you don't have to use both sides of this. Let's go big. Let's see, it can change angle 270. It's too much, you know, stuff like that. So, and then normally you can hit down here to explode. When you're done with what you're doing, hit explode. I'm gonna wait because I want to show you another spot to do it. Because right now it's still parametric. I can't union this. I can't subtract this. It's not editable in sense. Even if I double click on it, it just goes back to the done part. If you right click on it, there's actually another explode button right here. So if you hit explode, now this is exploded. Now I should be able to change it to colors. So that's where these ones are handy, but just understand if you're using these, you have to explode it to be able to do anything with it. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here. I mean, there's in a lot of these. You guys have seen me at CES. I made a lot of these. Let the M1 drew a bunch of pictures for me using the mandalas, but all kinds of stuff in here. Even some lines, some embossments. So if you want to play with your lasers to do that kind of stuff, they're in there, so you don't have to go make a file. It's stuff's already there to at least learn how to do it. So very handy. Again, all kinds of stuff, and there's stuff inside these too. So when you hit see all, there's more inside of them. So that's what that is. So that's elements. Uh, yeah, we'll go right into it. So AI again, we'll go back and cover some of these other ones. Uh, so obviously you have grid array, circular. And I'll show you how to do all this stuff. I'm just kind of going to go through everything, and then we'll go back and you guys can ask your questions, how you want to do stuff, how things are done. Uh, Again, don't be scared to ask questions, guys, because that's what we're here for. And there's a lot of people that are actually just like me, they're demo hosts. They're in the group chat actually. So ask questions. If I don't see it and don't do it, I'm sure one of those guys can pop on and give their 2 cents. I appreciate all those guys being in here. So, but yeah, so grid array, circle. We'll go over the stuff. This is the material test. We'll definitely go over that one. Code generation, make your own QR codes or board codes. This lead in, lead out, lead line out, I think is only on the P3. We'll check that. Let's check. I'm curious now. Yeah. So that lead in, lead out's only on the P3. I don't see it in this one, which is nice because I know there were some other people that we've done in them when I was doing the P2. Like, can we do that? You can in the P3. Smart nesting, handy. Wish it was a little better. Batch fill is a good thing. We'll come back to that question. I'm curious on that question because I had somebody else had that issue, and there was a way to reset it on your IF2. Measurements. I do use this one. This was like the one that a lot of us, especially people that are CAD people, we wanted that measurement tool a lot. And then again, the generators, these things are these four, five, one, two, three, four, five. These five, all free, all usable. Map Designer is a separate software. You do hop out of it and then it'll import stuff in. So it is not technically in XCS. It'll take you to their website. You sign up and you do what you need to do. I do like Map Designer. It is a very good software. There's some front end stuff that you got to do to make it work correctly. So definitely just go through it if you are going to use it. It is a cool tool. It does some pretty cool stuff. It's better than some other things. So, but then again, all these generators are actually very good places to start also. Every single one of them. You know, the keychain and the puzzle or earring, keychain, and ornament. I would definitely recommend just playing through those, just kind of getting the hang of stuff. Oh, sorry guys. And go that route just to get your hands in there and see how things work. And again, these are just like those parametrics. So things will come in and you have to explode them to do anything after you've made them. So again, we'll go over those here in a minute. What else we got? AI, again, another good feature. I'm starting to get more and more toward AI. I know some people don't like it, some people do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not good at all. So it is how it is. And it really goes about your prompts, what I've learned a lot. So there's different features that works and some that don't. So, and then again, back to MySpace. So, uh, we're gonna go ahead and hop across the top here over to the settings over here. Again, all these are going to be different for every laser. So just so you guys are aware, I'm going to do the basic ones. Again, this is some of the people I know that have been around and hung out with me a lot. This stuff is going to be second nature to everybody. But this is another spot you can do settings. These settings are actually still for, which is weird, but I know why they did it, are for studio. It's just another way to get to it. So if you do the clear cache, this is how you have to get to it without a screen open. So that's what that's there for. This is AI help is what this is for. So if I click on this, it actually brings up an AI assistant. What are you looking for? Uh, I know there's going to be an update for this where they're going to be able to contact tech support from inside here, which I think will be very handy. I think it's right here right now. I think we've convinced them to put something up on the bar so it's a lot easier accessible. So obviously that's just the you always want this green. That means your laser's connected. If it's not green, you're not connected. So that's why stuff doesn't work. I've seen people sit there and fight with stuff and like it doesn't do nothing. The laser's never connected. Obviously, connect your machine. So there's two different things here. When we go to this, yes, you'll get these nice pre lasers to go grab. All that does is switch your workspace. I mean, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's not. You got to connect to another laser. If you have one laser, it should auto connect when you pick the picture. If it doesn't, just go to connect device, go to Wi-Fi or USB, and then connect that right way. So disconnected. And sometimes they'll take a minute to do it. I know like the older P2, the P2S, you have to refresh. Or mine usually don't like connecting unless I turn it on, let it boot up, and then do it right away. Because if I turn it on, go do something, come back, it sometimes doesn't want to see it. So the P2, P2S, I want to say those ones, sometimes even the S1, they don't like being in the loop sometimes. So you got to restart that loop back up. Oh, let's see what else we got. Devices. This just shuts everything down. So people have the bigger screens, smaller screens. I know we had to do that before. This just tells us, obviously, the P3, you have attachments. They're just connected. They're good to go. Auto mode. Again, all these are always going to be different. So I don't want to go too in deep depth with this one because not everybody's going to have this. Obviously, your modes, that's important. So this is where you'll change all your stuff. These are pretty much across the board the same. Obviously, some will have different ones. Like we'll go again. I can break out into so many different tangents, guys. It's what trying to keep myself contained is the hard part. So, like I said, if you have questions, please fill out, ask, put them in the chats. I would appreciate it. Uh, Material. I know this is another touchy subject coming from XCS to Studio. Uh, but you do have your own material. Go to my material. These are the ones you've either saved or whatever. Again, it's weird different from the other one because you have to tie it to kind of a material. So if you don't tie it to a material, it will default under unknown, I'm pretty sure. Let me just see if this one does. So yeah, I mean it still defaults under dark black steel. It's how you save it's how it's going to default. So that's where it gets funny because that partially wishes they didn't make it have to have that name in the front because if I left it unknown, it'd always come up under unknown and then it'd be there, but it don't let you do that. Obviously, you can add it there, or you can just add it when you do it. Again, these are more P series lasers, the close-up shots, output. This is how you turn on off. Someday, I hope they will update this to if I turn the picture off and I hide it, it would turn the output off, but they haven't done that yet. So, because right now, If I click on it, it still says it's there and it's still outputting. So if you ever do that though, too, if you ever hide something like that, where it's doing this big block and there's nothing there, just click in the area and click show hide. So get text out there. Uh, so yeah, if you have anything on your screen, and what this does is it defaults down to score, engrave, cut. So if I had a bunch of things that were, a bunch of rectangles, couple circles, they're all set to score. So they're all going to be under this thing. But if we move these two to engrave, and this one does cut, now you have three different ones. And this is handy because it's nice to be able to go and set it up and hurry up and grab. Oh, I need this one. Oh, yep, I need that one. I want to change that color. I want to do something different. So speaking of that, I miss those. Uh, that's what those are for. So these are like just quick overviews of what's there. Then if you click into one, obviously you'll have what it is, the output, don't output. In this sense, I have two different modules. I can do either 5 watt or the CO2, uh, what you're doing. And then again, this will be different if you're doing an F series. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. This was one thing I wanted to check. 2.5. So what I did here, so this up here, you can see now this is actually something else as we're kind of running out down here. This pops up to you whenever you click on what I call a feature. Anything you select, that's a feature, that's feature, that's feature. These are what I call features. You'll get this box up here. It usually gives you some reason to use it. The top two numbers, your XY coordinates of the upper right-hand corner. The width and the height are the feature. And then this is your lock aspect ratio. That's locked, that's unlocked. If you're doing a rectangle, you will get radiuses and angles. Radiuses do let you put radiuses on it. Let's go 0.5, nice and big, which is great. But say I go over here, I'm gonna jump ahead here and union these two together. I want to add a radius to this corner. It doesn't let you add the radiuses. So you have to do things in a certain order in XCS, or you have to go back and use a little cookie cutter thing that I showed you guys. So, like the element, use this to put the radius on. Stuff like that. So now if I undo it, it's there and I can put it on now and then go union it together. So that's where the order of operation comes in really big. So wanted to see. Okay, it does do it from there. So again, there's always more than one way to get to somewhere. So I'll curious on that one. I haven't actually clicked on that. So cut test, material test array. They've been putting them actually right on the grid. So if you have it selected, all it has is a little quarter by quarter block. I don't want to do this one so when you do a material test array, you have to make sure you know what you're doing. Are you scoring it? Are you engraving it? Are you cutting it? You need those set. And then I never set a material. I know there's one in there right now, so I like to pull those out. I did see somebody say, hey, you set a material, because if you did, you do it now, I guess. But I never set a material because I don't want to influence my numbers. Because sometimes when you do it after the fact, it will change all those boxes to that material. Defeats the purpose of material. That's why you see people with their grids that are all the same engravings, all the same colors, all that kind of stuff. So Jarrett, yes, there is. Sorry, I'm gonna read a chat thing here real quick. We're getting through this part. Uh, we'll get to that back to that. So yes, grave test. I don't set a power. I don't set a speed. I don't set passes. You can. This is the one that you can actually set though. So if you want to see what two passes looks like compared to one, you can set that now, and then you can change the 100 lines per centimeter. So the 100, 200, 300, you can set those now, and then that will do in your material test array. So say if I do want to do two passes at 120, do a grid test. I do always tell people to never, especially if you're doing wood or leather, never run 100 power at 10 speed. You will catch on fire. If anybody else wants to disagree with me, you can, but you will catch on fire. Guaranteed. So that's why I always tell people, speed. I mean, we know you'll start knowing where to go, depending on what we're doing, sort of engraving. I mean, even at 50 is probably going to be slow, but maybe I don't know, we need to do 100. Maybe I only want to do 80 to, you know, 10. I do 10 by 10 squares, and then I do change the other. I do change this. So that's what I do. Then I size it. You hit done. It's more just for size. You can scale this wherever you need it. If you don't want these on, obviously we just go over. We don't output. No, this is the only thing that's going to go to the laser. Uh, they are grouped, which is another one that gets people into trouble. Again, go over that down the road. Normally, your letters, depending on what you're engraving on, usually wood is not too terrible. Metals and stuff, especially if you're doing raw metals. Obviously, I want to do it on CO2. Doesn't work unless I'm doing the IR laser. That'd be one I have to change too if I'm doing this. But it does, this is where the score does come in handy because now I can just click on this and change just the scores without having to ungroup it. So I can go in here and change these things, settings if I want to change them. Just a, again, handy feature to have. If you want to know if you're doing it right, you can go in here and see that, yes, everything is what it says it is. So, and then if I go and I go process, even though those are still on the screen, I made it so they don't. I'm doing this for a reason because I want to show you process. Oh, so I don't have a distance. That's why. So if you guys didn't know, too, in the P3, you can turn off auto mode, which I just did. So now I'm in manual mode. I still got to lift the lid to do it anyway, so we won't do it in this one. I got to, just because I'm just that guy. Throw something in there. Oh, this is the only thing I'm getting used to, the P3. So used to the P2, I can just close the lid and walk away and do stuff. So, I need a new stool, guys. This thing is driving me nuts. Likes to fall on me. And I don't have to do all this. So manual mode, if you are using manual mode, again, this is like if people have the P3, this is what's for. I need to measure. So just use my measurement tool. Gives me a little crosshairs. Click on it. You hear it's shooting over there. Now it does everything. Metal measure, raise my lip bed. It's one of those things. Like I said, I do like the auto measure, but sometimes manual is just good to have. Click process. So why I'm doing this is to show you. If you click this button here, a lot again, newbies don't know this. New people coming in. Obviously, it tells you how long it's going to take. And this is nice to have, not necessarily on this one, but a lot of extra verbiage. But you can see that it's how it's doing its turnarounds. That's what that's for. So it's moving down, moving up. Not the most effective. But again, it's got to do one at a time. So, but that's what the whole point of this is for, just so you can see the path, see how things are going. If you want to change it, there is a way to do it. Again, we can go over that here in a second. So, but that's where, like I said, all the lasers can do this feature. Uh, but what we got? Let's see how many people we got in here. I don't know how many people we got in the chats right now. That's another good question. So I don't get as much people. I know that. 14 maybe looking. Might be able to do a again if you guys did come in later. I do have a giveaway for you guys. It's from Great Lakes Laser Supply. You guys don't know Blank Sanborn. He's a great guy. He offered up some hat clips. We're gonna give away, if I'm wrong, I don't know if I'm not. We'll find out. 4 10 packs of hat clips here or there. So I don't know how I want to do it yet. I know I said it like xTool style. I'm gonna answer one question here. So we have a guy, Jarrett321 here, ask, currently engraving 250 tumblers. Is there a way to do the repetitive jobs without having to go over and over and over and over and over? Doing the press start process button. Yes, yes, there is. If you put your cup in, run your first one, you pull your cup out, you put your next cup in, everything should be the same, hypothetically. Just double tap the button on your laser. Every xTool laser will do this. Again, I'm not sure which laser you're using. Obviously, like the F2, as long as you have it taped down. But I'm missing it, Michael. I know I talk with my hands, guys. Give me a break. But yes, even this one will do the same thing. Double tap the button, you can run it again. Yes, way, way faster, especially if you're running the same exact cup over and over and over. It will save you a tremendous amount of time. So hopefully that helped. Gotcha. I understand now. Sorry. Yeah, that's a harsh one. But the IF2 thing, I know somebody else had an issue with a AP2, so I'm not sure if this is the issue, but if you hold the, I don't know if it be the power button on this one because you have to hold it to sync it and unplug it, it might reset it. You can try that. So hold down the power button while you're unplugging because that's what puts it in the Bluetooth mode. So that route. Again, if anybody's got questions, I'm gonna go to this one question, and I know Mike could actually probably attest to this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I can't get 12 inches, but I'm pretty sure I can. It's just the weird part of getting it. So this thing was connected. She was connected. I know early on they were doing that. So see, this is the whole having to restart the laser. And it only does it when I'm not using it. If it's just sitting there, if it's sitting idle, it will do this to me. So I want to show you the had a lady was asking about being 12 inch by 12 inches. It is doable in the P2. It's just the bed is different. It looks different than it should be. It's not in the slats because it's technically lower, at least in mine, it's lower than it should be. So, oh, let's see. A refresh fiend too. Come on, P2. Darn straight. Super Bowl or bust next year. Oh, come on, stupid laser. I'll turn the other one on. Let's do the other one. They both work. One of them was gonna pick it up. Hmm. But all right, guys. Yeah, I got all kinds of names for my machines, man. I gotta have fun with them. I thought I had this one. My UV was called Stepchild, but I think my wife changed it back or something. She didn't think that was funny. Gotta have fun with it, man. If we're gonna be out here looking at these things all the time, gotta have some fun names for your machines. Come on, P2s. Pick up. There it is. You didn't even get that bar across top. I'm telling you, you gotta be con persistent with it. It will connect eventually. All right. I've seen some good names for the P3s. So seen Large Marge. What was another one I seen? I don't know what we call them at the show. But anyways, 12 by 12 rectangle. I know there's a work area in here, and this is where people get kind of the problem is people want to put a 12 by 12 board and cut exactly 12 inches by 12 inches. A lot of people in here know that is not the easiest thing to do. Is it doable? Yes, but that is usually the hard part, uh, is to actually hit it right dead nuts on that. But there is a way to do it. Again, I think Michael can probably detest. There's a couple different ways you can do it. I've gone to the point where if I want to know exactly where my bottom line's going to be, I've done it a couple different ways. I put a board in here that's, sticks outside of everything and just then I go and I put this bottom left, bottom right, and I let it cut. It's my max to the left, my max to the bottom. That will let me put it all the way to the bottom. So no matter what, I know I'm at least on the bottom, and now I can go 12 inches to the top. That's, there's a couple different ways to do this. So 12. So there's my 12 by 12. And you can tell it's in. It's actually I can go 0. So now I know it'll be in. So 12 by 12 inches. Yes, I'm right on the line, right on the line. I love my P2s. They like to give me fits. I'm not gonna lie. They're great lasers. Great lasers. It's just I think we've updated enough stuff fits. I want to refresh it. I want you to show the bed. Let's see. Right. And that's where, that's how people get, like I said, frustrated because they're like, oh, my board says it's here, so I gotta go here. Well, you have to go within the working area. So if you're not within the working area, it's not going to cut it. So that's why I do a 12 by 12. I put it at Y0. It's as far top as it will go, and it will still let you process what I'm trying to do and show you that it will still let me process. Modify. I should just let it go. It will let me process a 12 by 12. It will do it, guys. It's just putting it in the right spots for it to do it. So Hopefully, the person that asked that question is watching this or watches it later. It is doable. It just you have to put it at the very top, or it will sit there and tell you it does not going to cut. Again, you have to put your work where it says it's going to be. It's not where you think it is. It's always going to be lower. The cutting, this is kind of where I'm getting at. So the it's actually outside of the frame. It is outside the frame. Unfortunately. I think it's just a little bit outside the frame is the actual cutting area of the when you're using a honeycomb, it's definitely outside the frame because it's actually outside the slats. This is really making me mad. This isn't refreshing now. So that's where, like I said, normally you take just a big board, put it in the very bottom corner of your laser, and run a line or run a box that's 12 by 23 and a half if you want. I mean, or just whatever your piece you're cutting and put it at 0, 0, like we did this box, because that's my max. It's what Mike knows what it is. It's a little bit bigger than 23 and a half. 23.5. That's not the button I wanted. 12 high, 23.5. And we line to the left. This is really making me mad that camera's not. It wants to. It's getting there. There's another new feature that I like it. I just got to remember it. I'm used to clicking the button for it to do stuff. Yeah, so you get a little bit more than 23 and a half. I think it's 23.6 something. Michael did a you guys don't know Michael is from Monkey Woodworks. He did put a lot of work into the P2 stuff and giving us all kinds of cool information. If you guys ever see the one that's got all the dimensions on it, that is Mike from Monkey Woodworks. Puts a lot of good information out. So go check out his page. He's got an awesome YouTube channel too. A lot of good information. That camera really does not like me. Yeah, it's like 23.6, I think. It's a metric thing. Somewhere in there. I think it's 23.6. Process. So yeah, just over 20, 23 and a half. But why my camera will mount, I don't know. So it is doable, guys. And that's how I figure out how big my stuff is. Same thing with the P2, the P3, the S1. That's how you figure out whatever your work area is. You can see exactly where your work area is going to be if you put a board in there that's just bigger than that area and cut it. That's where your work area is going to be. That's the easiest way. I know, like in the S1, it does shift a little bit just because of the way the honeycomb will move. Uh, but even like with the F series, you can do the same thing with a conveyor. You can find out how long you can actually go. Because again, I want to say it's a little bit longer than 19 and a half. So when you use the conveyor to engrave, obviously you can't cut that. But and then with a P3, when you switch over to the IR laser, you do lose some too. You guys want to see the? I haven't plugged in. All right, back to the nuts and bolts. Does anybody else got any questions that they would like me to cover before I start getting into design things? Good. Uh, so we're gonna get some design aspects. I'm gonna stay in the P3 for right now. Uh, if you guys ever want to remove the background of your picture you've taken, it's always right click and you can hide background. That is a question for everybody. There's a time and place, I think, for both, right? If you're doing really, really small stuff, I would say honeycomb is the best to go. Obviously, what was the question above? So laying the one against the frame. I think I got that one. Which one did I miss? Question is the actual cutting area. I think that one. How? we can go over that one. All right. So text. I'm not going to hop right into. I do like that it defaults to what the last thing you did to an extent. I wish the size would stay the same. It will always say hello the first time. Uh, fonts are abundance. I wish they would give us our xTool fonts back like they had before. I kind of like that, honestly, because I used a lot of them just because I knew they were, no matter what I was doing, what computer I was on, they would always be there. Uh, you can bookmark them if you like one. Just tag it, and then you can go up to filters and actually go to bookmark fonts. So if there's one that you like, you use a lot, you can go that route. If there's ones that you know that is your system fonts, obviously you click that one. It will bring up only your system ones. Click done. The problem is you got to remember to go and clear it before you do something. But like you said, you want to do, question was the spacing. Hello world. This way. That's not the right word. World. And obviously got nice and big, but you want to adjust this spacing. So, and it's weird because if this window's open, this will change. It didn't this time. This one, because you can shut these things down if you want to. Right here where it says more, this is how you adjust the spacing. So if you click this, you have leading, which is the gap between each word. If I want to make it smaller, I can go this route. This is where you can go to a point where you can make them all touch. And you can go in here and type negative 0.62, and it will do that. It will do little bits at a time. Negative 0.52, not 52. You know, it will do things like that. If you want to do the spacing the other way, that's the spacing. So now we can cram everything together. And then if you really want to go the next step, but now you can click this and hit weld, and you got the trees and everything that people have made. It's kind of how they do it. Obviously, that's a little funky. I'd do it a little different, but in that sense, it's all one word. It's all engravable. I engrave it, stuff like that. So I hope it answers your question. Again, it's a little tab under more. For some reason, it seems like the thing will move sometimes. So you just gotta look for the little up and down arrow. That's what that is for. So while we're doing text, as you can see, I welded them. I'm gonna back these out so you can actually see them. So you can change fonts. There's a bunch of different things that I do like about the text features. Uh, Not all fonts will have these. So if we change it to a different font, see, I think the Air will have it. So like this, the first letters is caps, the rest are not, and you want it all caps. This is another feature that is in here. If you go to more, and this button right here says uppercase, it'll switch them all to uppercase. Now, if you click it again, it just switches it back the way it was. So sorry, this one. It just switches back the way it was. So if they were like I had them, that's the way it goes. Obviously, justify. You want everything left, right, all the goodies inside. So that's what those features are for. Uh, what else we got inside here? Again, another one. Not all fonts will have this. You'll have a bit different ones, especially ones that you've downloaded. Usually don't have the extra fonts. And then obviously I can show this one right now. So this is like reflect. So if you did something on a mirror, do it backwards. You can do it this way. This reflects one way, reflects the other way. Put it back. Got to remember to quit clicking. Um, what else we got? Okay. Again, has anybody else got any other questions? I'm gonna go through some more of this stuff here because we'll go through the bend text here in a second. So if we want to bend the text, do a nice long one here. Sorry, that hello's bugging me. So if you want to bend the text, again, see how this icon moves a little bit? It does float around on you. It's not always, you just got to look for it sometimes. It will be in the word, it'll be beside the word. It's usually to the right of the word. But again, depending on how big the stuff is, that's where it ends up. So you can bend text up and down. Again, this is where, and I know there's people that have complained about this. It doesn't always bend square. Might be looking like it's doing better than it used to. Because people have complained that things don't always touch when you bend text. So if you're very particular about it, that's that. Uh, Another feature I like to use, I don't know if anybody else does, especially on the F series, if there's something I forgot, didn't do right, didn't engrave the way I liked it to, and I want to go back and pick up with my blue light, if you go in here, you right click and you hit split text, which is this one right here, it still keeps it text, but it keeps it individually letter for letter for letter for letter. So now when I go and I do a frame, I can do it this letter, this letter. You know what I'm saying? So now I can actually locate things. Yes, you can bend around a complete circle. It just depends on your word. It depends on the length of your word. Uh, so like if we went back farther. Now the only thing it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you the radius, which is again another feature that would be nice. Tell me that I want to bend this around a 2-inch circle and it's just going to go 2 inches. If I could set this to 2 inches, that'd be great. But yes, you can go all the way around. But again, obviously you're limited. This is where you change your spacing or do whatever you want to do. Now that you got a circle, now I can change size, and make it fit to what you want it to fit to. That's the better way to do it. Just make it a circle, then adjust it to what you need it for. So I think that's most of the text stuff. I'll check something. No, if that's so you can rotate it obviously at an angle, or you can just rotate it. And again, so the split text, that's another thing that's actually handy to do if you wanted to do the one letter at a time and instead of just doing it because now they're individual words. It's almost easier to instead of doing the whole one at a time. If you wanted to write it, and this is how you write it in a line. You can do enter. Again, there's 9 million ways to do the same thing. Now, if I want to make sure this is all spaced out the same way, this is another feature. So again, if I'm jumping around too much, just put some in the chat, say slow down, do that again. So right now they're individual text boxes, but you can see there's a bigger gap there, a smaller gap. If I want to make sure they're all exactly equal, this is where this button, distribute. So we want to distribute them equally from the H to the O. There's an equal space between every single one of those. No, you cannot do that. Not without doing it this way. So you can do it. It just takes more work. So in theory, let's go back to that circle. Yeah, I can go back to that circle. Oh, so go back a little further. Big square box. So you can do it again. That's more like XCS Studio. Yeah, Studio. Uh, you can do. I can do anything that in here that I can pretty much do in. There's only one thing I think is that we can't follow a curve. Again, I can follow a curve. I can't do in Lightburn. I can. It just takes me more steps. So it is doable. I can slant words and I can do all that stuff. You can do it. It's just not quick. So again, back to what your question was. If I go around the text, again, if you want them all to be the same way, Again, not the most time effective, but now they're individual letters. You'd have to go through and level each one off. Is it doable? Yes. Is it cost time effective? Probably not. But if you have to do it that way, that is a way to do it. You know, if you want them all to be still sitting perpendicular all the way around in that sense. So there is a way to do it. Is it the easiest? No, but and then obviously that's the nice thing about it. There's still words, there's still letters. You can change it, move it. Everything that's in this feature still works. So it is useful, but again, not the best use of it. Let's go back again. One more thing. One more thing I want to show you because we haven't showed the one thing. So when you're done, I know there's weld. It doesn't weld like it used to weld because you can unweld now. So it still doesn't make it like editable. It's still a text box. If you want to go to where it's actually editable, that's not a word. Uh, if I go in here and I go to convert to path, now it's just a node, just nodes. Now you can actually do some. This is where you can kind of do your funky things. You want to change it completely, make it follow. I do this. I put it in. If somebody's got some weird text words they want be all funky, I put the word in as close as it's possibly going to be, and then just do this. I split it up and then just drag my nodes to where they need to be to match up, and I'm done. It's as fast as I can get to where I need to get to. So, so that's another one of those. Da, da, da. Pretty much most for text. Circle. So we're gonna go over these ones real quick. So circle, 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 almost a circle. So I'm gonna change the colors. Change the color of anything. You right click, you move to the colors are just for looks and how the laser does process them if you change a certain setting. So majority of there for looks, just to let you guys know. And then the other thing too, don't use blue. Here, we'll use black. I like using engrave, and why I use engrave, even if I'm drawing something, doing something, it's always considered a solid in this. It's always a solid. So you can see that on top of that one, on top of that one, and then you can move these around. That's what their range is for. Bring front, send to the back, and there's reasons for that. If you're subtracting is a cookie cutter. It's how you got to think about this. It's not just erasing. It's not if I make a circle inside of a circle, it doesn't work that way. There's still a solid on top of a solid. Uh, that really bugs that's not squared. It's driving me crazy, guys. Sorry. Of course, that one's it. So, circle on top of circle. You can see these blue lines. These are the auto snaps. I said that they're great to have. Sorry, now that's technically over top of each other. But if I'm trying to line up and now I'm technically on that bottom one, it just things will grab and you don't want them to grab. And it's annoying. And so that's where that control R comes into place. And now they won't do that, which is nice because they don't auto snap. So, but subtracts, and you only can subtract from two objects. So that's where you get these other. I'm a big box select guy, so I'm selecting both of them. So as long as I'm touching both of them, it will grab both things. It'll grab everything that's there. If I'm just touching these three, it'll grab all of them. You start doing this stuff, you gotta be careful. So that's all you gotta watch when you're doing more than two things. Right now, if I want to subtract, we'll start from the top down. Go to combine, we want a union. It unions these two together. Now they're one big piece. You go back to that feature thing. So you go back, see that that's removed. Undo button. That darn undo button. Now, if I want to subtract, again, the one on top will always go down to the one below it. Subtract, cut, however you want to call it. That's what that one's for. Now, this is where this one gets a little funky. I know. You'd think that'd be the like one I would use the most, and I never do. Control Z. He's telling me to use my hotkey Control Z, and I'm not doing it. Um, United overlap. So this is handy because it's more of a trim tool, but people don't think about it as a trim tool. But because the way XCS Studio does this, because right now when I do this, what's going to be left is the little teardrop in the middle because it's taking everything on the outside away. I use it more like a trim tool. So if I have a circle and there's stuff hanging outside my circle, I put another circle in there and I union that and it cuts everything outside away. So again, I'll show you how that one works. So I get this one. I'm gonna see how this one works. I'm curious because I always do this on top of each other. So it's gonna remove the middle. So anything that's overlapped, it's gonna remove. And this is where, and this one doesn't matter which way's which. Because if I push this one to the back and I do the exact same thing, it's gonna be giving me the exact same results because it's still an overlap. And that's where if I'm always have two circles over top of each other, I don't care which way they are because again, here, I'll show you. It makes more sense. This is why we do demonstrations. So circle over circle, if I do this and I hit subtract, it's going to make a hole through the circle. Man, see, then I hit the wrong button. But if I do circle over circle, when I put the big one on top, oh, bring to the front. And again, you don't know this because there's two. Yeah, this is because most people design like this. They see this, they don't know the ones on top. They go over there and they go subtract, and it says I can't do that. Well, you can. It's just because the way they order they are, and this is why. So this is why I do these demonstrations. So, but that's why, like I said, if I use subtracted overlap, doesn't matter what order they are because it's still going to do it. It just changes the color to the one that was on the one that's on the bottom. So, there's a list under settings. Gentleman just asked about if there's control keys. So the hotkeys are right here. You click on that, it'll take you to the website. Just moved it over on another thing here. The whole list of them. So I got another little turbo pad that I use that has a bunch of them on it. So that's where that list of hotkeys is at. They're not my hotkeys. I wish they were programmable, but they're not. So that's what I'm used to. Then I can make things do what I want to do. So where are we? Yes, we'll go over that one real quick. Uh, so if you have a bunch of things of the same color, one good thing Mike brought up, I have a bunch of orange that are in here. And I just want to grab these orange ones. That's where this feature down here, this bottom left hand corner. This is where having things that set at a different color will be very helpful. Uh, I can select just the blue, but it grabs everything, which kind of a pain in the butt. In this sense, I got the orange, so now it's grabbing the orange. It's only going to grab just the orange. So there's other ways around not grabbing these. So this is the little three little lines on the bottom there, the little paper stacks. That's what this is part. This is part of the ones I missed because I have a little notation thing that sits underneath these things and I always forget. So you can actually go in here and do it this way too. So I can grab items this way too. So I'm not grabbing, and again, you can hold down shift or control. You want to do one at a time. You can select them that way. And actually you can do it. So if I grouped, and this is where grouping comes into play. I group these. Now there's a group in here. Even though they're grouped and they're always going to move together, no matter what, no matter which one I grab, They're always going to move together now because they're grouped. And this is what grouping is for. This is the only thing grouping is for is design intent. Nothing the way, nothing how the light goes to the laser. If somebody wants to argue with that one, I'll die on that hill. It's only for design purposes only. I know light burn, it does make a difference in the process. It doesn't here. Uh, you can do by order, but that has nothing to do with this. It has to do more with the colors on what does what first. And it goes by this order over here. So black will go first, orange, cyan. But again, it only follows this order. We go over here to process. And then we get over to this little button here. Then we change this from auto planning to user defined. There's another, and again, all the lasers have this nice this. And the F series has another little tab that I love. I used to love. It doesn't do it as well as it used to. Shift plus click to deselect. Yes, same thing. Shift will select a bunch. Control will select one at a time. So, but right here, if you turn this on layer by layer, now it will follow this color order. So if you do want something to do, if you want it's engraved first, because normally, tell me if I'm wrong, guys in the chats, it should go score, engrave, cut is the order it should be. I might be wrong. I feel like it's changed at some point in there, but I like to engrave something really light and go back and score that same spot. Again, if I do that, I gotta have a duplicate of the same one on top of each other. That's how you can do the same processes on the same thing. So if I want to do, in this sense, I can just make a copy of this one, paste it, because the exact same shape. I'm gonna change the color, but I want to score this. So now I can engrave the blue and score the green all at the same time. But we want to engrave the engrave, then score, and then do these other ones. Because you can go back to engrave if you want. It's just you can change the order of operations. So man, I feel like I've been chatting for a long time. I don't think I got very far. Uh Make sure I'm not missing anything, guys. Again, if you guys got any questions, please throw them in there. I'm just kind of going through what I normally do. So, and then again, if you want to ungroup these, obviously just go over here, ungroup. Now I can pull one off a time. You can't break them even over here. I can do stuff to them. I just can't break it unless I ungroup it up there. Uh, Everything that is a feature, I'm gonna call it a feature, can double click it. You always get the nodes to pop out. So that way you can actually change stuff. If you want to do something different, you know. And then there's actually 4 different types of nodes in each one. You can align stuff. You can actually put the node in a certain location. And this is where you can scissor things and cut things off. This will get you in trouble though. So be careful. This is not what it's meant for. The scissors is technically, this is the way I take it. The scissor is meant for adding lines only kind of content if you only want to score stuff. So if I go in here and I trim that line, I hit done, it's still going to be solid. See how the solid, this is how it's going to engrave if it engraves. Even though I cut that line out, it didn't make it just a line. Now if I score it, it's going to score just this. So don't go in there trying thinking you're just going to trim something that's going to blend in. It's not how it works. You still have to mesh those two together. So, but didn't want to show you that one. We went over that. Again, we're going to do the infamous ornament real quick here. Subtract that overlap. So that gives me the ring. So now, again, this is where I'm talking about. So what are 6 inches? And why I want to know how size is, I got to add another circle. And that's why I want to know how big that actually was. So if we go to elements, Say want to add some plants. There's a tree. Let's add one of these trees. So, so I want this tree, something like that. Maybe this one's over here. Nice big one. But the stuff's kind of hanging out a little bit. Change color so you can see it. Um, oh, feel bad. Do another circle, 6 inches. Now, what I've done before, just to make this a little easier, if you union these two together, even though they're not touching each other, you still can union them into one, or you can make it as a compound vector. This is where this another feature is useful. Now, again, now I'm just one feature. I do the red. I hope I did the red and find out. Red circle or that. Subtract that overlap. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Order of operations, guys. Why? United overlap. That's why. Because now I can take this union. And now it's part of the Christmas tree. So hopefully that helps people out. Uh, again, there is so much more I can go over. I can keep going if you guys want to. I do not know how many people are still hanging out. If you are, we can do a quick giveaway if you want to do one. It's let me know who's out there. If you guys are going to go on and do the giveaway real quick, getting their hat clips from Great Lakes Laser Supply. You gave me 4 sets and time flew, man. I went from 9 o'clock to 10:30 real fast. So I guess right now, whoever's out there, still here. Eric's still here. There's only two of you. Might just give you guys the first jabs, but I don't want to be a party pooper. Might just do that though, because y'all are the ones at least been involved. Uh because really it's still you four. And I have 4 packs to give away, so one, two. Eric, you might be a odd man out. I love you, buddy, but you're a demo host. You don't count. Let's see who we got in there. Jarrett. All right, we'll do this real quick. So give me I don't know. I don't know how to do this because it's good. I don't want because somebody's gonna be out. Maybe I can get him to throw another one in there. Like I said, y'all, the ones that have been in there have all been chit-chatting and hitting me up, and I appreciate that. Like I said, involved. That's what I like to be. I like having people involved when we do this stuff. So I'm going back and forth. Exactly. See, you're gonna see Blake. You're in the area. Next time you come up, I'll give you some. How's that, Eric? We'll do that. Uh, so yeah, if you guys Jarrett, Denver Crafting, Harvey, and Vaughn, why don't you guys get a hold of me? Just DM me and I will get your guys' information over to Blake at Great Lakes Laser Supply. Like I said, he was nice enough to do this for me. And I know it's supposed to the whole point was to kind of get my chats going, but I don't know who's all out there. It's like I know that says there's 15. I mean, Somebody else wants to chime in, tell me there's more people out there than just those guys. I will we'll do the giveaway, but I got to see more people. 'Cause I got four people that have been involved. The other two are demo hosts. I love them, but I'm not saying you're excluded. You have to send me a picture of that the cup you did. See how it turned out. Uh like I said, you guys just get a hold of me. The three I talked about. We'll get you some hat clips. Uh Again, I have no problem hanging out and doing some more stuff. You guys want to do some more stuff? I know I'm doing some stuff with, I call him Harvey. It's too old to do this. He's not too old to do this. He's doing all kinds of cool stuff. We're gonna do some photo stuff this weekend. But yeah, there's so much more I can go over. That's what's crazy with this because every laser is different. That's why I do this. So I don't want to like totally bombard people with stuff and why I stuck with P3 because I know a lot of people have gotten to P3 recently. If there's questions you have about the F1, the F1 Ultra, F2, F2 Ultra, F2 UV, hit me up in the description there. You can sign up and do a kind of like this one-on-one with me. I like to do is I like to have you kind of drive and I'll just explain why we do this stuff. So it's a good question. I don't know. I don't do this stuff. So let's see. Nope, don't want to do that. Can put you in a timeout though. That's kind of cool. You can contact me on my page. I'm trying to think who I don't have information home for. I have everybody but you, Jarrett, I think, in Denver. But I think Denver, I've seen you online though, haven't I? I think we've talked on chats, I think. You can find me on I'm on all the Facebook things. So if you find me in there, just DM me in Facebook. On Facebook, you can DM me. It's under Ben Henry. I know it says E2 here. My name is Ben Henry. Mario, I'm glad you good. I'm glad some of the other people got involved. Like I said, it's one of those things that I like doing this stuff. It just I can go in so many different directions with people. And like I said, I try to cover the basis. Again, there's like I said, we haven't dove into photo stuff. And I can go over it a little bit if you guys want to see the few things that are still hanging out. It's just one of those things. It's there's so much to cover, and I could do two different ones, and I could designate to a different laser. And I've tried that before, and it's just to me, it's harder to just do like one feature. I'd rather just have everybody kind of hop in, ask their questions, and then I can go through and just do like this. Now I can just go through and ask questions. I like showing people, especially with this. There's so many people that there's gonna be a lot of people doing laser stuff this year for sure. Definitely a lot of people have purchased. I'm not gonna lie about that. But again, it's there's so much to do in this laser world. Don't take it as everybody's doing it. There's so many different things that people can do. Just do your own thing, man. Just do what you do and be creative. That's the way I look at this stuff. So, so for like real quick, I'm gonna just show you the photo thing real quick. We're gonna actually do this under the UV. I like what doing that. Picture files. Oh, is it in there? Is that? Got to do the picture of the Hoover Dam. It's good to hear. Sounds like you've done a lot of tumblers. Hell, even more than I've done. I've not done that many tumblers. So photos. Uh, I'm gonna rotate it just to do it on this one. Yeah, we'll keep it square. Say I want to fit this on here, go rectangle. Just want to fit it to the card. So I'm basically getting kind of a version of cropping it. If you want to do a circle, I'll do this real quick. It's kind of a bad photo to pick. Uh, too many clicks. If I want to do this a circle, if I select both my photo and my SVG file, that's what I'm gonna call it. That's what it is. You get mask up here. So if I click that, it masks off what you want to do. Again, you can do this any which way, anyhow. As long as it's one SVG file. So one feature that's an SVG, uh, I should not be locked down. You send it to me, I will get it. It doesn't, you can't be my friend, but I will get the DM. So just send me the DM and I get it. I got Jared's. So just message me and I will get it. It does come to me. It might not say that I went through, but I will get it. So again, this is a quick way to do, if you got pets, photos, hearts, there's all kinds of different ways. You want to do names, again, that's another whole, we can do all kinds of things. And your photo's still there, so don't think you're like messing your photo up. You can release it, photo's still there. Your full photo. Uh, Again, you click edit. This is where you get all these cool features. These are some of your AI things. This AI credit, you use it for anything that has AI. And this is where you're going to use most of it for the AI stuff, besides the true AI. But it's worth the credits. Spend 20 bucks. They'll last you for a long time. It's like 1,000 or 2,000 credits. It's like most of these things cost you six credits, maybe eight. I think is the most. Some are less. It's worth it. You get points for buying stuff. You get points for putting stuff in a Tom because you can upload stuff that you make to a Tom. You get credits for that. So there's way to get credits without having to pay for them also. So uh maybe Denver, I'll see if I can find you. Denver Crafting, is that your call out in Facebook too, or is it different? Okay. I'll find you. I'll find you if you don't find me. So I'll do that later. But yeah, so again, you can crop, you can adjust, and you can edit here. Uh, so adjustments, a lot of people miss this one. Um, Again, I keep seeing everybody like take their photos, like I gotta do it outside, I gotta do it in Photoshop, I gotta do it. And if you know Photoshop, do it in Photoshop. Don't get me wrong. It's obviously gonna be better than this. I'm not gonna lie. But there's things that you can do in here that will still adjust your photos and still be adjustable. That's what these sliders are for. I got to brighten it up. I want to lighten it up. This is what people don't understand is it does this way. Both these do different things. I can darken, I can lighten it. I mean, that right there is not a bad photo. There's obviously the auto adjust. I don't use it. I don't like the way the quality of the photo turns out. Honestly, that's just my preference. But there's just tricks that I've done, and Harvey, you'll learn all these here in a minute, Saturday. But it's one of those things. And a lot of that stuff you're not going to play with right now because I don't need saturation. I mean, brightness I probably use with, but that's about the only one. Maybe a little bit in the contrast, but that's it. The rest of it's in my settings, and then the grayscale up here. Those are the only two things I play with when I do my stuff. If you want to invert, like if I'm doing this business card, I would invert it because you need to have it this way, or it's not going to show up. It's going to look funny, if we did this on this business card. So obviously, what is really dark is going to be white, and it's going to go the other way. So, uh, but yeah, there's all kinds of. I mean, you can do all the masking stuff over here. The AI, this AI you can actually do without it. So if you do want to come in here, again, bad photo because there's not really nothing to remove manually. But this fuzziness, say I had a full white black background, I can go in here and click this line and it says fuzziness, but it's color, whatever that color is, that shade of color. And then your undo button is up here, not this one down here. So again, not a very good picture to do this with. If you do want to just go in here and erase stuff, you can just use the eraser. Again, the AI stuff is actually, I've done some stuff in here where I wish it would keep it the black and white when I go back and do these adjustments, but it doesn't. So I have used the expand tool. So hey, I wanted to fit something a little bit bigger. It does adjust it pretty well. I mean, I had a little baby I had to do for an ornament, and it adjusted it enough that made it look right. Made his arm a little bit longer, and it didn't look distorted or nothing. So it's definitely a handy tool to have and to use. So, um, but yeah, it's one of those things. So from here, I just change my settings. If any of you don't have a F series laser, when you put a photo in, you do get something different than you do on a gantry style laser. You get dot duration, power level, and DPI. This is set for grayscale. 90% of the people run stuff in Jarvis. For one, it's faster. You can do the other ones because obviously it's going to take longer. Uh, see, I'm in the UV laser. I think which one was in. So dot duration is like speed, but backwards. So the higher the number, the slower you're running because it's how long the laser sits in one spot. So just let you know. Uh, Obviously your power, it's still going to show scale. It's not going to just be, so you don't have to be on grayscale for the grayscale stuff to work. So people understand that too. It's still going to do the gradient, same power, but it's still going to be the gradient. So, and then DPI obviously is dots per inch. So, and even this, I mean, the difference between 325 and 500, again, unless the file is specifically made for the laser, which again, sometimes that's where like the imager does come into a little bit of play when you want to do like super, super. But I can get some pretty good files. I've not had too many issues, you know. And it's even that 325 to 400, you know. In the UV, you can get away with a lot higher for sure. I've learned than you can say like the F1 or the F2 family, even any of the lasers. This one I can get a lot higher. The other ones I usually run about 325 and they come out great. So, okay, I'll get you. I'll hit you up. We'll get you guys some numbers and we'll get you guys some hat clips. You guys haven't seen them. Do I have one sitting out here? I did. I used to. You guys don't know what the other hat clips you can engrave. All the lasers should be able to engrave them. It's just they're like coated. And he has a bunch of different colors. Blake has a bunch of cool stuff to sell. He does a lot of promotional stuff, a lot of guy stuff. So if you're looking for stuff for guys, Great Lakes Laser Supply is a very good spot to do that stuff. He has belts that are engravable. Uh, and actually, you can mark them up pretty good too. Wallets, I use a lot of their wallets. So it's definitely a good place to get that kind of stuff. It's just like I said, a lot of guy stuff. It's because I know we do a lot of stuff for shows and it's mostly female. Blake has definitely pushed that to be more guy oriented. Flashlights, knives, I think. I don't know if he does knives or not, but something like that. So great guy, great company, does a lot of stuff, knows a lot of people. So I appreciate that he let me do the giveaway. Again, I didn't do it exactly the way he wanted me to probably do it, but I appreciate everybody that was actually involved in asking questions and all that good stuff. So he does it's Great Lakes Laser Supply is the name of the company. You go to greatlakeslasersupply.com, you should be able to find all the goodies that he sells on his website. So all kinds of goodies. What else we got? I got all kinds of stuff. We'll probably do this again in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll just break it down to the rest of the stuff. So again, if you guys don't have any other questions, I think we're gonna call it a night for now. I think that's again. I could do this for another hour, to be honest, guys, but I won't make you guys. I appreciate everybody that stuck around for an hour and a half. That hour and a half actually flew by way faster than I thought it was going to be. So if we're good, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody. I will be in touch with the people that touched base with me. It should be four. There's more than four. I'm gonna yell at somebody. Eric, if I see an email from you, we'll talk. All right. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. We'll do this again probably in a couple weeks. Depends on how my flow goes. So, alrighty. Talk to you later.